quite clearly recording in batches because I hurt my back 2 weeks ago and wasn't able to record any videos, and I felt really bad because subscribers have come to the channel and I feel responsible to deliver content to you guys, value that allows you guys to grow your businesses and gain perspective on how to make decisions going forward. Fun fact, I thought it was a back issue. Turns out I've got chronically tight hamstrings, so I need to stretch more or less every hour just to kind of get my hamstrings back and springy, so that at night when I go to bed, my back doesn't feel like it's been doing all the work keeping me balanced. Essentially what I was doing, according to my chiropractor, I was walking kind of like a tall stick, using my calves and my feet only, but not engaging the hamstrings at all, so they ended up being really stiff and sore. Yeah, look after your bodies. Second reason why I'm doing a batch of videos is because it's 19 degrees now and I'm in a hoodie. It's supposed to be summer, but in 2 days time it's going to be 35, 39 and 35, so 3 days of just no recording because it's going to be like melting hot, and my glasses will essentially fall off my face as I talk to you, kind of like that. So in this video, just wanted to I came across an example that I'll tell you later, but that example got me thinking about why people love reselling so much and why it can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. And that is the fact that there is a very low barrier to entry and enormous upside depending on how you manage it and depending on how you, I suppose, make decisions to grow it into a business that lasts. There is like six-figure resellers are not a hard thing to come by. $1 million resellers do exist. You know, they are not unicorns that happen once every several years. You know, there are plenty of resellers who sell millions of dollars a year, and how they get there oftentimes comes to them realizing at the start there's huge upside to grow their dollars doing this thing called reselling. They then make a bunch of decisions to systemize their businesses, which we'll cover in this channel. But at the start, when people see that and go, I want to do reselling, the upside is usually the thing that makes them choose reselling. Because when you think about all the opportunities that are available, you've got, you need a phone, internet, phone, computer, internet, you need a bank account, and that's it. Whereas to do Uber, you need that and a car. Even then with Uber or, you know, rideshare, all that kind of stuff that requires they're doing all that gig community stuff, like the rates are pretty set. Sure, there's some bonus rates and peak hours, but for the most part, you're leveraging time for money and it's quite set what you can achieve. Whereas in the free time you have to do eBay, you can make a lot more money depending on how much better you get at refining your ability to find profitable items and then process them quicker, photograph them quicker, list them quicker, delegate to staff, grow business. You get the idea. So why is that so that's the blessing side. Why is it a curse? And here's the example that I came across. There's a guy called Jordan Peterson. Most of you who have been on the internet have come across this guy. Can be quite polarizing. He's generally quite conservative, but he's a really deep thinker. And the example that he uses when someone asks, you know, what do you say to someone who you know, finally gets a break? And he's just like, someone told him, if I can have $400 million, you know, I'll be set, my problems will go away. And he's like, are you sure? Because, you know, do you give money to your family? And if so, how much? If you give them too much, are you robbing them of their responsibilities and stripping them of their purpose? Versus if you give them too little, do they turn on you? When the parasites come, you know, do you know who to give, who do you not? Do you manage it, or do you let your wealth just dwindle away? And it's like, the question he asks is like, are you sure you're ready for that responsibility? And I know eBay isn't $400 million, but the upside of eBay reselling is such that that potential can sometimes feel like something that people don't know what to do with. And so when they get into it, they might be optimistic about it with a bit of uncertainty, a bit of fear, but you know, they hope for the best. They'll give it a shot, see how we go. But then they also have spouses who literally will be like, I don't think you can do it. I don't think you'll be able to, which essentially translates to, I don't think you can manage the opportunity. And that leads to those arguments of like, you don't believe in me, you know, you don't see it the way I do. Of course they don't. Because upside is the flip side of risk. Most people marry the opposite of their risk profile. Like I take very calculated risks, but when I do take a risk, I swing. Whereas Jenny is someone who takes very methodical, step-by-step kind of risk. So in a sense, I won't jeopardize the family, but I'll swing a lot harder than Jenny does. And I oftentimes will say to her, if I didn't marry you and married someone like me, I could either be really rich or really bankrupt. And she goes, yup. So she's kind of like my baseline. And so when I discuss opportunities with her, oftentimes I'll be like, here's the upside. And she'll be like, yeah, cool. Just go and do something, and then I'll assess it as we go. And so where does that leave the poor reseller who now has no one to talk to that actually believes in the upside that they see? The community, peers, mentors, people who share the experience with them and can speak their language, and people who have been there and have grown from where they're at. And that's so important when becoming a reseller. The barrier to entry is so low. The reason the opportunity is so big is because there's been no pre-qualification. When you think about like a specialist doctor, for example, they've done exams after exam after exam, study, placement. They've done so much pre-qualifying to get to the point where the subset of people is not everybody, but those who suffer this specific range of conditions that they can apply their expertise to. It's not that confusing and it's not that overwhelming. They sit there, people just come from that group. But with reselling, at the start, you can pick anybody to sell to who has money, and you can sell them any item that is of interest to them. And when you think about it, most of us use several thousand items in a year. I could sell you any of those 1,000 items. And then there's another person who uses another different set of 1,000 items. You know, if there were Venn diagrams, they just overlap with everybody. It's confusing, overwhelming, and it can just be like, ugh. So if you are someone who is considering becoming a reseller because you like the upside you see for the barrier that is quite low, please bear in mind that a community is necessary to help you to digest this journey. It may seem easy, but I can guarantee you, if you want to grow it into a repeatable business, you will hit a bunch of walls that essentially act as qualifiers along the way. Because you did not get pre-qualified to do this, you will have to re-qualify over and over and over again. After selling one item, you need to qualify that you can sell it again. After finding 10 of one item, you have to see if you can find 20. After making a $10,000 a month, you have to figure out whether you can do that $10,000 again. Even if you do 9,000 a month after that, you have to figure out how to do 12, 15. You get the idea. There's a journey of constant wall hitting that having a community will help you make sense of it all. Because most of us who have done it for many years now, for me, I do between $20,000 and $30,000 in sales a month, and I have a full-timer working for me at the moment. There are months when I pay myself less than him. There are months when I pay myself less than him and buy more stock still. So it's people make decisions so differently because you can do anything with reselling. You can tap into the upside however way you will, and having that support will mean that you can make sense of your next step, and it will be significantly less overwhelming. Which brings me to Resellers United, which is the group that I'm a part of. I encourage you to join. The link's in the description below. We are a very small, humble community at this point, but we would love to add you to help you on your journey. And even though small, there are resellers who have been there, who have been doing it for several years, myself included. And what you'll find is that with the discussion that we have, you can just make sense. That's the word I keep coming back to, like make sense of what you're doing. Otherwise, some days you'll do something else, some days you'll do this, some days you'll do that, and it will just be, the progress will feel not consistent. That's what reselling is. It is both a blessing and a curse. And managing it right, it can be more of a blessing. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.